So the mouse is over there, and I'm touching vigorously, and it's locked up. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another All-Tech Dream. My name is Justin, and today's video is, it's gonna be a little plain, I guess I should say, because I can't experience everything that this product has to offer. The best way to say this is, it's gonna be simple. But today's video is on a very interesting, generally conceptually interesting product, which is this thing. Yes, what we are looking at here is a product known as the Dynavox V+. Now, what even is the Dynavox V+ in the first place? Well, it should probably start with the company itself. Dynavox Mayer-Johnson, a company that existed for several years, producing assisted technologies, basically computers and the like that were made to assist those with cognitive disorders or just general disabilities that made it hard for them to operate in a world of computers and other fancy things like that. Products like the Dynavox V+ here were made specifically for people who were able to use wheelchairs or something, and possibly even just needed a computer in general to live their life. It features certain things like a touch screen, and there's a little microphone at the top here, so you can of course speak into it and that type of thing. Very orange, I can see on my display here, my little camera. And it's honestly not a very complicated little machine. It's interesting, but not complicated. We do have a major problem, though, and that stems from this machine's general decided hardware. So I'm just going to make it easy and give a quick demonstration of all this stuff. But first, let's take a look at the hardware itself. So the overall look of the machine isn't too complicated. You're looking at a display here, measurements. You're looking at an 8-inch, roughly 1024 by 768 display. Perfectly functional, though not a very impressive display. I believe it's an LCD panel with a really recessed display, so you're going to see a lot of the edges of the panel, and it's not very good looking, honestly. Power button up top there. You have lights for the power, charging, activity lights for the hard drive and CPU, and a microphone right there. If I can actually get it to zoom, yeah. The microphone's going to be right there. The display is a touchscreen, as I said, so you can, of course, do that type of stuff. On the top, there's not going to be much. You have two speakers here. There's an sort of, it's apparently an ambient light sensor, I suppose. That's the best thing I can say about it. It all uses these hex screws, though, which is always kind of the worst thing. If you could focus, that'd be great. Yeah, just a lot of hex screws going on with this stuff. It's not the most impressive thing. And then on the side here, we are looking at various ports. Got this thing is not sitting flush. We have a speaker connection, a microphone connector, USB ports, and what they call switch ports. No real descriptor as to what it is. Apparently that's the closest thing you're getting to expanding this hardware, but it can't do much. And of course the power connector. And then on the back, not looking at much. You have these penny screws. I call them penny screws because, of course, you could use a coin to remove them, which houses the battery. Under the battery, which is an 11 watt-hour battery, I believe, it actually contains a product code for Windows 7 Home Premium. So this computer would have run Windows 7. And of course it has this hinge-based sort of thing that lets you set it up like that. And then there's a mounting bracket, so you could actually mount it onto a wheelchair-based mount. But yeah, let's get set upright and just go into it, powering it on. Of course, it starts off Dynavox Advanced Human Expression and Learning, and then it goes right to the BIOS, which you can see we have an Intel Atom Z530, which gives us a rough time for when this product was released. The Z530 CPU was released in 2008, so that gives us at least 2008 or 2009 as to when this product was produced. And they stopped support of it in 2016, I believe. Inside H2O is the BIOS, apparently. 1.6 gigahertz is a single-core CPU, but it does have hyper-threading, so you get a little bit of that, and a gigabyte of RAM. So that's about all I can do. Can't really do much because, as it turns out, the touchscreen doesn't really work, at least not with the BIOS. That said, I can get myself a keyboard. Sure, with all the things I have, you'd think I'd have a more convenient way to connect everything. I'm going to use a PS2 keyboard and mouse combo unit, along with a keyboard and mouse adapter. Here's hoping that it works at least enough for me to do this video. Plug it into the side here. Hey, numlock is on. Good sign. Yeah, good. Back to the video. If you're wondering what all this chaos is down here, that is actually because I think the CPU, or the display, rather, is busted. It's just not doing as well. It's also weird video artifacting can happen sometimes in the general display. It's not great. Should pre-allocate 8. Oh, actually it's actually set as an 800 by 600 display. Can theoretically emulate different displays, it looks like. Strange stuff, honestly. We're just going to stick to the 800 by 600 it gives us. You can see there's just some weirdness going on with this LCD panel. Give it 8 megabytes just to be safe. And yeah, IDE. Now, other things to look at, SDIO for an MMC port. I don't see any of that, so I think that's another case of needing to have a switch that plugs into the side here. So I guess there is some expansion you can have. Has built-in audio, of course. Some security. You have various power states, including hyperthreading, C states, and boot settings, including USB boot. All really cool stuff, but generally nothing else you can really do. The time is set correctly. I did set that pretty much. That's how they feel like the hour is off. Yeah, that's about all you can really do, because unfortunately the hard drive doesn't work. And I did test it because it is a PATA hard drive. It is a 44-pin, 2.5-inch mini-IDE or PATA-based hard drive. That's what came in these machines. It's a rather odd scenario that those were the decided hard drives, because by 2009, by 2008, we were using SATA. We were absolutely using SATA. I have a netbook right here from 2008. This is the HP 2133. This thing uses SATA from 2008. But a machine like this was using PATA. It's so bizarre and intriguing to think of that. It was possibly a cost-saving measure, because this was using a lot of lower-end stuff. We were talking an Intel Atom processor, only a gigabyte of RAM, and yet it was using Windows 7. At a time where I think it could have used Windows XP still, embedded anyway. It's just, strange stuff. We're going to save the settings here, and it's just going to reboot and not be able to do anything. So, I do have another ace up my sleeve. I have this USB stick here. It's the one you've probably seen before. And the card here contains a build of Linux. And it's just jumping right in. It's unfortunately a little bit goofy. Let's test the memory. I'm not going to put you through the rigmarole of testing a full gigabyte of RAM on a device like this. That's kind of just silly. So we are going to just jump right into Linux here. I can tell you it's not going to last that long. There's your mouse. And there we go. That's interesting. The mouse component of my keyboard doesn't want to work. But other things, if I do Control-Delete, that works just fine. It opens up a task manager. So that's interesting. I can't use the mouse, but the keyboard works fine. Yeah, the keyboard is the only thing on my thing that works. Yeah, you can see there is a bit of a touchscreen thing. It's not working as well as you'd hope. Linux has problems trying to do some of these things. Oh, it's actually 7.10. That's fine. Or 17. You can see it's mapping my mouse to the exact opposite location on the display, which is weird. So if I go over here, it won't. Yeah, I can't even get to the bottom. Okay, closest thing I ended up being able to find was a stupid little finger mouse. Don't ask how it works. I can't even plug that in because it's taking up space where all these ports are. Okay. It's just barely in. As it turns out, I have numlock turned on. That's why it was failing. And, fuck. So the mouse is over there, and I'm touching vigorously, and it's locked up. So the Wi-Fi chip doesn't seem to like this either. Yikes. And numlock doesn't work anymore on this keyboard. So yeah, that was the Dynavox V+, at least for this video. I can't do much more testing because I can't run the native software that came on this. I don't have a hard drive to put into the machine right now because, of course, it's a mini-IDE. I'm going to have to get an adapter of some type for SATA or get another frickin' mini-IDE SSD, which is ridiculously expensive. It's just kind of stuck in this limbo right now. Had I had it, though, it would be running Windows 7, and it would obviously run the InterAACT software, which is what they apparently used. It's interesting, though. One other thing that I mentioned or neglected to mention is there's this little black bit at the very peak of the back portion. That's actually an IR blaster. So you could also technically use this whole unit for a universal remote, and the software would have helped do that as well. Yeah, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, my name has been Justin. This has been All Tech Dream. I'm sorry for the short video, but hopefully we'll get to experiment more with this machine in due time. My name has been Justin. This has been an All-Tech Dream. I will see you all next time. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day and night cycle.